people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
You have a healthy Teofimo Lopez in there, he's gonna bring it, and he's gonna entertain the crowd.
Definitely. Do you feel that this is gonna be the toughest test of his career? We know that Shakur. This is not the toughest fight. What was the toughest fight?
It's never been the toughest fight for my son. You know, the toughest fight for my son is him being healthy. You know, he's a smash. Yeah. So, you know, and we got to be careful with that because losing the weight. You know, we're moving after this fight. We're moving up to 147.
Oh, I'm not gonna allow You're gonna stay at 147. All right.
Pre-fight excuses, maybe? Citing the weight and having to make it as the only real difficulty ahead of a Shakur Stevenson fight so that afterwards, if they lose, they can blame it on the weight? When they lost to George Kambosos, they blamed it on a chest cold that Teofimo Lopez had. And you can make of that what you will. You can believe it, you cannot believe it, but that's what they said. Now ahead of the Shakur Stevenson fight, all of a sudden, they're talking about weight, where they haven't been talking about weight all this time. All of a sudden, it becomes a talking point. Teofimo Lopez's super lightweight campaign was not akin to his lightweight campaign. He didn't show anywhere near the same ambition. The only quality guy that he faced as a super lightweight has to have been Josh Taylor, who was coming off a year layoff and a controversial win over Jack Catterall that a lot of people thought was a loss. Everything else he did in between there, Sandor Martin, Jermaine Ortiz, Steve Claggett,
Arnold Barboza.
It all just seems like filler. That's not to say that those guys were cream puffs, because they weren't. But his run at 140 was not as ambitious as his run at 135. There are other champions there. Richardson Hitchens, Gary Antoine Russell, Subriel Matias. I guess we can't expect Teofimo to settle up with them. It's Shakur, and then he's gone.
Who's training him to fight Shakur?
It would seem that his father is going to be taking care of that his father will be the head trainer. No Joey Gamache, no new relationship with an Eddie Reynoso or somebody else. It looks like Senior primarily will be the one getting Teofimo ready for this fight.
It's right around the corner, too. It's not as far away as you think. Most of December is already gone, where the fight is supposed to be going down at the very end of next month, at the very end of January. We've seen the back and forth between the boys. The Barbs traded, and it's all good, or at least it all sounds good, up until the opening bell sounds. Seeing the back and forth between Teofimo and Shakur.
Teofimo fancies himself some kind of a philosopher, always being cryptic, needlessly. Why don't you speak in direct sentences? Why don't you speak in absolutes?
So well his father is. His father, at least based on what he's saying, is not at all worried about Shakur, but more worried about his son's ability to make the weight. Now, why that might have actually grown difficult over time is Teofimo doesn't really fight that often. I mean, he only fought once this year.
Fought 2 times the last one. He capped off last year in June with the Steve Claggett fight, with a lot of time remaining, enough that he could have squeezed in a third fight if he wanted to. So, from the Steve Claggett fight to what became the Arnold Barboza fight, it's practically a year in there in between those 2 fights.
Right.
So that now, in between the Arnold Barboza fight and what will be the Shakur Stevenson fight, there's another pile of months in there where Teofimo's not doing anything, or he's just sitting around eating food, getting fat.
He gets fat?
Well, he doesn't get skinny. Not if he's now struggling to make 140 pounds, given his physical dimensions. Teo's not a big guy. He doesn't stand in 5'10", 5'11". He's a small fry. To where with discipline and consistency, making that weight should be relatively easy. If it's now not, I think that sparse schedule of activity has a lot to do with it. Shakur is going to outpoint him. I think his father knows that. I think he knows that.
You ain't tired of rooting against this guy?
Even a broken clock is right twice a day. I may not have called his outcomes accurately in the past, but this is one prediction I'm settled on. Shakur Stevenson has all the ingredients to make it a very long night for Teofimo.
And I think Shakur's gonna beat him.
Still think Devin Haney's boring?
It's not that I think he's boring. I just said that performance, for me, wasn't great to watch. Now, when I used to, people say, oh, when you used to promote him, you used to say this. Obviously, if I'm promoting a guy, you have to justify a performance a little bit more. But by the way, if you go back to those performances, they were very different to the Ramirez fight and the Brian Norman fight. Watch the Jojo Diaz fight, watch the Abdullayev fight, watch the Moran fight, watch the even the Linares fight, even the Regis Prograis fight. Do you know what I mean? He's not fighting like he used to. I give him all the props in the world. He's a great fighter. He's really hard to beat. But I'm just telling you, as a fan, I think he can be doing more. I think he can actually be a better offensive fighter. I think he could have stopped Brian Norman and made a massive statement. And that was my honest opinion.
I think if he would have put that stamp on it, nobody would have been complaining afterwards. Not even the people who picked Brian Norman to beat him. Not even the people who wanted to see Devin Haney lose. The reason they want to see him lose is because he's so fucking boring.
It's a part of it. There are other things in play too, but that's definitely a part of it.
It's not hard to understand that Devin can be skilled and good at what he does, but what he does isn't always entertaining. So when you establish so early in a fight that you can score a knockdown, you can catch the guy off guard and hurt him.
When you don't try harder after that, it just feels like you're coasting, like you're playing it safe. People want drama. They don't have to apologize for that. What draws people to combat sports in the first place is the brutality. Where I don't get out of bed for a Devin Haney fight. I don't hear Devin wants to fight this guy or fight that guy and get it all excited about it, because I know what he's going to do. I know what it's going to look like. If he has it his way, it's going to be hard to stay awake.
Don't watch a Devin Haney fight if you have sleep apnea.
It's bad for your health.
Try him out.
Doing big business. I'm here on official DHP business with Eddie, so
Who you calling out? I reckon you probably want to unify against Lewis Crocker.
How's Lewis Crocker doing?
He's doing fantastically well. He holds the IBF belt. Your man holds the WBO belt. I know what you're up to, you know. I know you've already been sliding in the DMs. We know how you move, Bill. You know.
Hey, there's no fight for anyone in the division, in or around the division, other than Devin Haney. That's where all the money is. We know that.
So you want to come to Belfast, yeah?
The earth is our turf. I mean, I think Devin has already proven that he's quite the gentleman, the real world champion of travel. Well, I'm for the greater of boxing, and I happen to be with the best guy that's out here doing it. From the UK to Oakland to Stockton to everywhere, Eddie, it's always a pleasure.
So it would seem that the Haneys have buried the hatchets with Matchroom, with Eddie Hearn, now that Matchroom has once again become useful to them, targeting their man, newly crowned IBF champion, Lewis Crocker.
Why should Matchroom do it, though? Why should they make the Crocker fight for the Haneys when the Haneys are the ones that need it? They're the ones that are going to ask for an arm and a leg.
You know that it almost slipped my mind that there is another champion at welterweight currently available, not otherwise preoccupied, for Devin Haney to fight. We know that Devin wanted a Rolly Romero unification match up until Rolly completely blew off that idea. Meanwhile, Mario Barrios is all tied up with a Ryan Garcia fight. Enter Lewis Crocker. He's not otherwise preoccupied, and for him, a Devin Haney fight would be big.
Yeah, it'd be the biggest fight of his career. Biggest fight for the biggest profile. Likely for the biggest money. I'm not at all excited because it goes back to what I said before about Devin. He can be very good at what he does, but what he does is not entertaining. You can probably give him very good odds to beat Lewis Crocker and become a unified welterweight champion at what is Devin's third weight. And that would move him up the pound-for-pound rank standings. It would move him up mine. But what would that bring the head count of champions to? George Kambosos at 135, Regis Prograis at 140, Brian Gore-Tex at 147, then Lewis Crocker.
Lewis Crocker would make 4. 4 reigning world champions that Devin would have taken belts from, 3 of which were unbeaten. George, Brian, Lewis.
Not too shabby.
Not too entertaining either, like I said. In spite of how accomplished he is, he's just not entertaining, and that is established.
We ever seen something like that before? Where a guy's really good at what he does, and he's really accomplished, but he's just not good to watch. Has that ever happened?
It actually has. A few years ago, Guillermo Vergandiao in the super bantamweight division. Now, most people will remember Guillermo from his fight with Nonito Donaire and his other fight with Yamagasa. Those were entertaining fights. Those two were. But the rest of the time, Rigo did not make for a good watch. Rigo, a pure boxer,
boring.
Like Devin is a pure boxer, was fucking boring.
Boring.
And he was accomplished. He was Ring Magazine. He was lineal. He had 1 or 2 alphabet titles. He was an accomplished guy. But those accomplishments don't speak to his ability to entertain. And I definitely feel that applies to Devin. He can go in there with Lewis, and he can win the fight. But you know how Devin goes about winning a fight.
Boring.
Men's Cruiserweight news. Newly crowned 2-time WBC Cruiserweight champion Noel Mikaelian turns page to title unification fights after beating Badu Jack. Los Angeles. Noel Mikaelian did more than enough to get revenge in a rough and tumble rematch against Badu Jack for the WBC Cruiserweight title this past Saturday. The sequel came with high stakes, and now it's Mikaelian, 28-3 with 12 knockouts, who gets to move on for significant title unification matchups against The Ring and IBF champion Jai Opetaia, and possibly against the winner of the May 2nd matchup between WBA and WBO champion Gilberto Ramirez and David Benavidez. I'm the world champion, so of course, everyone would want to fight me. Mikaelian said during his post-fight press conference, "I'm here, and I was never gone. The people that have been wanting to see my fight against Opetaia and Ramirez, they are both great southpaw fighters. They are very experienced with different styles. Ramirez is a strong fighter who is durable and underestimated. He's beaten good guys lately. I know everybody has Benavidez beating Zurdo, but I have Zurdo this time. Zurdo has really surprised me lately." Opetaia is a good fighter and a technician who can punch. He's a great fighter, but so am I. I have respect for both of them. You can't underestimate either of them. They both have great resumes and are dangerous. In order to find out who is the best cruiserweight in the world, you have to face each other. I am looking forward to these fights. Opetaia, 29-0 with 23 KOs, has already stated that he's ready to slug it out against Mikaelian following his win against Jack. Opetaia fought earlier this month and knocked out Hussein Sankara in 8 rounds. On Saturday, against Jack, Mikaelian ensured the decision could not be disputed, despite the fight being filled with multiple fouls and point deductions on each side. Mikaelian swept the final 5 rounds on the judges' scorecards and was awarded scores of 116-110 on 2 judges' scorecards and 115-111. I'm a very collected guy and very calculated, and I don't want to get emotional, but sometimes you just have to let the dog out, and he forced me to let the dog out after the fouls, said Mikaelian. Mikaelian first became WBC Cruiserweight champion in November of 2023, 2 years ago, by stopping Lunga Makabu in 3 rounds. But the sanctioning body downgraded Mikaelian to a champion in recess due to injuries and promotional issues with promoter Don King. The WBC elevated Jack to the full title, and after Mikaelian was on the wrong end of a majority decision in May, he filed a petition for a rematch, and it was ordered. With the World Boxing Council now in tow, the 35-year-old Armenian is once again in an advantageous position. I've been waiting for the unifications, and that's why we had this fight, said Mikaelian. I'm happy to become a 2-time world champion, and I am looking forward to those challenges.
So listen, if it comes down to money, I think there's more money in it for Noel in facing Jai Opetaia than there would be waiting for the winner of Zurdo versus Benavidez, which is all the way out there in May, by the way.
That's in the second quarter of next year, meaning that the winner of that fight likely wouldn't be available to Noel anyway until maybe towards the end of the third or sometime in the fourth, which is the end of next year.
Noel would be waiting a long time for the winner of that fight, but over to the money, and the reason I think there's more money in it for him in fighting Jai than fighting the winner of that fight is, Jai has already made several Ring Magazine and Riyadh season appearances. This is a fighter that Turkey knows by name and likes to use.
Jai himself, catching wind of Noel's victory over Jack, said, "Now is the right time to unify the titles. I'm the Ring Magazine and IBF champion. He's the WBC champion. I respect Noel as a fighter and as a champion, but I believe I'm the best cruiserweight in the world."
Money.
Well, I believe that Noel stands a better chance of landing a big Saudi bag on a big Saudi show fighting Jai than waiting around for the winner of Benavidez versus Zurdo. I believe that Jai Opetaia is more desperate for a unification match than either David or Zurdo.
Well, I believe he wants it more than they do.
And he's wanted it for a long time. I believe that Matchroom have to act aggressively on Jai Opetaia's behalf to secure this fight for him now, for either the end of the first quarter or sometime in the second. Right around the time that Zurdo and David are going to be fighting each other, ideally, you would want Jai and Noel to fight around that time, to ride that wave, that synergy of cruiserweight action.
Either Matchroom has to act aggressively on Jai Opetaia's behalf, or Turkey LL Sheikh himself has to intervene to make sure that Noel Mikaelian doesn't slip away and they can make this fight for Jai.
Now, Jai Opetaia just satisfied his mandatory challenger, so he's all in the clear for the foreseeable future. And I believe that the same applies to Noel Mikaelian. I don't know of any mandatories that would bog him down and keep him out of a unification match.
I'm not sure that he has any.
Thus, when Jai Opetaia says that now is the time to do it, now is the time to strike, he's absolutely right. I only question Noel Mikaelian's earnestness towards proving he's the #1 cruiserweight in the world. Let's be honest. You fought a 42-year-old Badu Jack.
That's a much safer fight than going in there with Jai Opetaia. And to beat that 42-year-old Badu Jack, you needed to fight him 2 times to get 1 win. A fight with Jai Opetaia is a very different proposition. It likely does pay better than waiting for Zurdo or waiting for David. God knows, Golden Boy Promotions is not known for how much money they kick out. Matchroom, on the other hand,
they've got a better reputation for paying fighters fairly and paying fighters on time. So you're likelier to get a respectable purse fighting Jai, one way or another, than waiting for the winner of that fight. But the caveat is, you're likely gonna lose. Jai's likely gonna steamroll you.
Don't pretend that these guys are looking at Jai Opetaia as being the same as everybody else. They know that he's a riskier fight than the others.
Noel knows that.